Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Welcome. This is a live podcast. You may not be watching it live, but it was podcasted or broadcasted live. So, if you're not acquainted with this podcast, it's called Ken Goldberg's Law and Disorder, and it airs Monday through Saturday from 6 to 6:45. I agree that's entirely too long in today's world where people have very short attention span. Listen, I do understand. I do understand. But I've gotten into a habit. So what I suggest is if you're a short attention span kind of person, I suggest that, it's 6:01 now, and it's July 12th, 2021. And so if you're a short attention span person, what I suggest is, hi, Kathy. So what you can do if you have a short attention span, excuse me one moment. I'm just messing around, man. I'm calling it short attention span. I'm acting like I got short attention span, right? So let me finish what I was saying. If you got short attention span, then you know what? Check out when you want to. Check back in later on if you need to. Listen to this at your leisure. You like the way I say leisure instead of leisure? I think that's kind of, how do you say? I am, Becky, Chris, Kathy. I think when I say leisure, it makes me a little bit more sounding smart. Like somehow that's the right pronunciation of leisure. And y'all didn't know it, but I knew it, so I said leisure, right? It's kind of like the way I say bicycle. I mean, hey, does anybody know that's not the right way to say it? Come on. Get out your funkin' wagnalls, everybody. Destroy me. Anyways, let me tell you about today's links. Today's links were completely random. You got a drum line. I love drum lines. So I ran across one. I'm like, hey, hi, rating. And then the other two were comedies. They're just comedies. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I had a plan. I thought about playing that Russell Brand podcast during my podcast about loneliness because he came out with one early this morning, and I just did one a couple of days ago, and I thought they came together nicely. He's got a much bigger audience. I have maybe 10 people. He has maybe 10,000 or more, but I beat him to the punch. I'm proud to say. So, and his vocabulary is much better. I'll bet you he would say leisure because he says a lot of things with a different emphasis on a different syllable. And I assume it's because he's better educated than me. And I admire his education, but I really admire the way he uses the English language in general. Russell Brand, that is who I'm talking about. If you're on YouTube and you're wondering who is he saying hello to, who is this Ray Dean, Ann, Becky, Chris, Kathy? Well, those are people who are friends of mine on Facebook who are watching on Facebook, not on YouTube, where I'm simulcasting. Yes, I'm simulcasting. So I have a lot to report on today. It's all the news that's fit to talk about. And well, we'll see. We'll see what comes out of my mouth. I was going to, backtrack. Like, no, because he's British. I believe that, I believe he's better educated and he probably went to a good school in England. And I think the way they use the English language is typically, I think not all Brits tend to use the English language well. I think he does. First off, he has an expansive vocabulary. I do too, but it's not like his. And then who's saying hello to? Who's saying hello? Mark says, who is he saying hello to? The only person who said hello is Chris, and I think he said it to me. I don't know. Who is he saying? Who is he? You're using pronouns. Must I chastise you people? When you use pronouns, you throw me off because pronouns are And here's a $5 word, ambiguous. I could hang out, throw that word out, respect. Okay. So I don't have the vocabulary. When I was at Oxford and I hung around with local Brits, not educated, not particularly educated Brits, just local Brits, because I was going to AA. Most of the um, students from Oxford University, where I was, had left for the summer, and all these Americans and Italians and French move in, rent the space, so you can say I went to Oxford for law school. Well, I did, but anyways, I was impressed with the way they used the English language in general, all across Britain, all across social strata. I think that Russell Brand is yet at another level. He's operating at another level. So, anyways, he did a podcast, came out this morning on loneliness. I thought it segued nicely, or I segued nicely into his thing. Now, he offered some solutions. I didn't really offer solutions. I don't recall. Of course, I don't recall my podcast from, a day or 2 days ago. So maybe I did offer a solution. Who knows? Wait, even better. Who cares? So I published some comedy. I published a drum line, and I was going to keep going. But the truth is, I'm tired and I ran out of steam. Thus, now let me segue to the news for the moment. I got up very early today. Today's a Monday, by the way. Did I tell you that? Did I tell you that it's after 6 o'clock p.m. in Dallas and that today is July 12th? I mean, shouldn't I be introducing myself properly and appropriately? Um, Only because it's a live podcast. If I was Russell Brand, I don't have to waste time telling you when I podcasted and all that because it's not intended for consumption immediately. He creates these podcasts, probably does a lot of editing, and then he puts it out there. Me, no editing. Now, in my own defense, I don't know how to edit. So I won't edit because I don't know how. Russell probably has a team. He has more money than me, more savvy than me, the whole thing. Do I sound like I have Russell envy? I don't, but I do admire him. Sometimes he's off the wall, but when he's not off the wall, he's good. The topics he handles, the people he interviews, he does a good job.
Have some jalapenos.
Yeah, sure. They're really your jalapenos. I never bought jalapenos.
It's with your soup, but it's in a separate bag.
Knock your socks off,
We're
kid.
gonna just take them.
Go ahead.
I'll just pick one.
I just threw my jalapenos on the father sacrificial thinger. Apparently, we got Vietnamese food coming, or it came. My daughter's here. That's part of the news. And my daughter just came in to see if she could have my jalapenos. Of course she can. I don't eat jalapenos. So, um, and as Rose pointed out, and it's a legitimate thing to share with all of you, it's Monday all day. All right. So I got up this morning, and it was Monday then, and it was early. And I went to my 12-step meeting, and then I came home a little early from the 12-step meeting because I was eager to get out before it got too hot and ride my bicycle. There it is, bicycle. I challenge you to prove me wrong. I say that's the right way to say it. I went bicycling, and I met up with Chris, and we bicycled together. And we went around the lake and we zigged and we zagged. And eventually we ended up at the falafel house. It's called Juice Babe, but your legs are a little sore. Good, good. That means you pushed yourself a little bit, Chris. Chris rides one of these old fashioned bicycles that doesn't have a motor. I think it's silly, but I respect his right to do it. Me, I rode electric, right? So I put in a little over 50. I think he put in a little over 40, but he didn't have a motor. And we made it down to the Juice Babe. And I don't know if I've told y'all about the Juice Babe, but here's what happened. I went to the Juice Babe. I don't remember if Chris was with me my first time or not. I think not. I think I was with somebody else. Anyways, I enjoyed it. I got a falafel wrap. And I thought, you know what? I don't usually like spending $10 for a wrap. It's downtown. You're going to pay a premium to eat downtown. So, anyways, I digress. I got a falafel wrap. I enjoyed it. One day I suggested Chris, we go down there and we get a falafel wrap. He was game. Now we've been down there maybe 5 times. Some of the staff know us. We have a good meal, and then off we go. We take off on our bicycles, and so, anyways, we did quite a bit of biking, and it got warm, and it got humid, and it got challenging, right? I know this doesn't sound like news to you, but hang on, I might come up with something. Listen, I'm winging it too. All the news that's fit to print. Come on, the hell would that mean, right? So, so I knew that I had a 2 o'clock appointment with a veterinarian. This begins the news. I talked to you all on Saturday for the last time and told you that my cat had been getting tested because she's not doing well. And so they retested her blood and they contacted us. And my daughter tried to call me during the podcast. I didn't answer. Later on, I talked to her. She said, the veterinarian says that she has diabetes. And I'm like, oh man, that's a bummer. I don't even know what that means. Was that Saturday? I think that was Saturday. Or was that Friday? Did I tell y'all she had that? Anyways, she's got diabetes. The little thing, poor little thing. She's like 17 years old. And so we had to take her, my daughters, 4 of us went to this thing, Banfield Pet Hospital. And we had a lesson in inoculating a cat with insulin. Oh, man, twice a day, every day, probably until she passes, could be years, but supposedly it will reinvigorate her. Ultimately, if I give her the insulin every day, twice a day, she'll begin to gain some weight and her muscles will begin to function properly. So we'll see. Um, so we did that. And then I talked to the veterinarian, and this was kind of cute. So I asked to speak to the vet, not the nurse. The nurse was there. I don't disrespect nurses, but I want to know what the vet's got to say about some of this. And she comes back and she says, what's your phone number? So I give her my phone number. She says, he'll call you in a minute. He's down the hall, but he has an autoimmune disease or something. He won't meet with you. I'm like, well, all right, whatever, right? So he did. He called me, talked to me about diabetes and the cat. And as serendipitously, okay, pay attention, please, okay? When I went to Tucson a month, 2, 3 ago, I don't remember when, but you might, I stayed at a friend of mine, Elaine's house, and Elaine has 2 cats, one who has diabetes and needs 2 shots a day. And since I was using her house while she was gone, I took the responsibility of injecting her cat twice a day. So I'm not a rookie. I've had some experience at injecting a cat, but her cat was kind of healthy and didn't notice when you gave an injection. And I mean, didn't notice. I was supposed to feed the cat, and while the cat was eating, pop, cat never reacted. It was great. I got comfortable twice a day. I'm like, I don't know. My cat's like skinny. She's probably going to feel this. Anyways, they injected her with water to show me how to do it. My daughters are injecting her now because I get up early in the morning, and if we got to do it exactly 12 hours apart. So I want to do it before 6 p.m. so that when I get up in the morning, it will be the right time, not after I leave the house. And then I'm like, oh man, I forgot to give the cat a shot. So this is going to go on for a long time. So that's news. My kitty cat, Velvet, who often appears up in a perch there, but is probably with my daughters right now in the kitchen, has diabetes. Bless her heart. And hi, Kathy. 2 Kathys. So, so that's news, right? And then my daughters, they went to buy tires, but in order to buy tires, shouldn't Dad engage and help identify how do you pick the tires? Because they were just going to pull into Discount Tire and say, I need 4 new tires. Those you who are grown up, man, that's a setup for disaster. By the time you're done, you'll be driving out on uh, Michelin's, right? My daughter's got a Nissan Sentra 2011. She don't need Michelin. She don't go anywhere except back and forth to Grand Prairie. So I'm like, yeah. So uh, I I get to working on it, right? And I get online. I look up her tire. I look at her car, and it turns out. Thank you for asking, Kathy. Thank you, Joan. I'm going to come back to that then. So I identify the tire, I price it, I call Discount Tire, I have discussions. My daughter's in on it. She decides which tire she wants, and she went off to buy tires, and I stayed here and prepped the show. They came back with Vietnamese food about 10 minutes before showtime. I can't stop what I'm doing, right? I got to get ready. I got to set up my thing. All right. So that's kind of how they went. Pretty busy, right? So normally, um, you would ride 50 miles and then you would come home and crash. But I couldn't do that. I only had enough time, really, this is the truth, enough time to jump in the shower and clean up before my daughters were banging on the door saying, come on, Dad, it's time to go. We got to be at the vet hospital at 2 o'clock. I got home about 1:20, took my shower, out the door. So I haven't stopped. So I had to take some caffeine, which may explain why I'm able to conduct myself in this manner being stream of consciousness without interruption. All right, Joan, seems like you're feeling better about everything now that you have a course of action. Yes, of course. I want to see my cat get better. And I didn't know over the weekend, could I keep giving her yogurt? Could I keep giving her cantaloupe juice? I didn't know. Got the answers to all those questions and more. Is insulin for cats expensive? I think so. It was about $180 for 100 needles and a vial of insulin. They told me the insulin should last 2 or 3 months. How do they not know which? I don't know. But for the initial course of action, I just bought from the vet everything. I will price these things and see about saving money later. But I thought, let's get the show on the road. Velvet will love you for this in her way as she is a cat. Oh, that's right. She is a cat. You know, I try to talk to her and explain things to her. You know, I feel that as a cat owner, sometimes I have an obligation to explain things to my cat that can be stress inducing. So I try to help reduce their stress by explaining to my cat, this is what we're going to do. This is why we're doing it. This is where we're going. We're going to the vet hospital. It's for your own good. We're going to learn how to treat you so you can regain fat and muscle, you know. But I'm going to tell you something. She just doesn't react. It's like talking to a rock. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. She just looks at you like, huh? I remember Stacia, my youngest, Anastasia, had that same look on her face from about 4 years of age to about 12. So I would sit her down and say, listen, this is why I'm doing this. This is how it affects you. Ba, 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 bing, bing, bing. Do you have anything to say? And she had that 1,000-yard stare that you see when you're talking to a long-term prisoner of war. So I remember one time I took the girls, I sat them down. I don't remember how old they were. They were young. And I said, listen, I know that you wonder where your dad went. I don't know where he went. I've looked for him. I can't find him. And that was true. I don't lie to them. I had this whole thing about, you're safe. You're here. We're in Tucson. We're going to move forward. I'm going to take care of you from now on till you're grown. You don't have to worry about it. I guarantee it. I had this real heart to heart, right? And the two of them, they were both there. Velvet was there too, actually. but Alex and Stacia were together. And so, you finish talking, you say, do you have any questions? Stacia, now, yes, Stacia, can I play Nintendo now? I'm like, the whole thing was lost on her. I just like, shoo, went over her head. I don't know. So, so Velvet probably will love me, mostly because she doesn't know what else to do, because she is a cat. All right, so that's what's happening in the Goldberg household is we are transitioning from three cats that I pretty much neglected, except for food, shelter, cleaning cat litter every day, and feeding them, the basics. Now we're transitioning to kind of a medical, quasi medical community where I will be the initial point of contact medically for my cats. Um, the other cat, Leo, is going in for major oral examination on July 19th and will probably require a teeth cleaning, a very expensive teeth cleaning. I will have two cats that will probably get into the $1,000 club before the year is over. Thank you, Kathy. I thought it's a cute story too. It kind of threw me off at the time, Kathy, because I was really very serious and trying to be very heartfelt. That I'm not going anywhere. I know your dad split and left. And we don't know where he went, but I'm here. I got your back. I always will. You'll never have to feel abandoned. I promise you. Yeah, And then it's like, can I go play Nintendo now? Not, why are you doing this? Or I'm glad you're doing it or whatever. Completely just blew past it. If you're done talking, can I go play Nintendo? Are you done? The next Dr. Ken, right? Because there's a Korean guy. They call it Dr. Ken. I'll be the next Dr. Ken. Do you think I should buy some scrubs for when I'm giving the injection? How much can scrubs be? They can't be that expensive, right? Maybe I could play a doctor here. I mean, let me be honest. I don't think the cats know what I do for a living. Well, I don't. Uh, but even when I did, I don't think that. Uh, I just don't think they know what I do. I don't think they get the concept of a lawyer because they've never been sued. They've never tried to sue anybody. So I'm not even sure that when I tell them I'm a lawyer, that they really can wrap their minds around it. You know, I'm going to tell you something. Cats are, and don't take me wrong, please, they're really shallow. They're like kids. They're like Stacia when she was, I don't know, 8 years old. Yeah, she was about 8. Shallow, just whew, stuff goes over the head. The nonchalant attitude makes me believe they already felt completely safe. That nonchalant. Well, I don't know. I mean, they say that abandoned children never quite get over being abandoned, that it always lurks in their life. I can't tell you. Um, and I've met many an adopted kid, many. I got to tell you, almost universally, they want to go searching for their family. They'll tell you they were raised by loving couple and really great life, and they always somehow feel like they got the short end of the stick, even when they like landed up in better circumstances. Screw that. Chris, when I first read Find Some at Goodwill, I'm trying to think what the hell that was. There you go. Yeah, I figured it out just before you put that you meant scrubs. But when you first said Find Some at Goodwill, I'm like, I'm so scattered around. I was thinking, is he talking about insulin? They don't sell insulin at the Goodwill. And scrubs will instill confidence, and that's important. I think it's important for my cats to have confidence that they're in competent hands. And if they're thinking that a lawyer is administering injections, I mean, none of you have ever gone to your lawyer and said, "Can you shoot me up?" Right? You didn't go into your lawyer and say, I have a tummy ache. What do you think? You didn't go to your lawyer and say, "Can I get a vaccination?" So why should the cats feel any less than you do? God, but if I'm in scrubs, you know what? I'm going to go to Goodwill sometime in the near future. I'm sorry I can't do it tomorrow morning. I just don't have time. I don't even have anything that looks like scrubs, or I would try to fake it till I make it. But I'm kind of like it. You know what else I could get? I don't think I can get it at Goodwill, but I wonder. I look on Google. What about a stethoscope? I don't want one of those funky hats that look like a bandana, whatever you call it, surgeons wear. I'm not into that, but I think a little stethoscope, even one of the kinds you get at the five and dime store for kids, because again, I listen. I'm not trying to throw my cats under the bus. I don't want you to get me wrong. I'm not trying to put them down, but again, let me reiterate: my cats are very shallow, and I'm not sure what they understand and what they don't understand. So I'll bet if I even just bought one of those toy stethoscopes and came out with my scrubs on and gave them shots, they'd buy it. And I thought, who are they going to complain to anyways? But there should be a complaint department when you're doing medical stuff. There should be a liaison or um, what do we call them? Oh my God, the liaison. The word ombudsman. There should be an ombudsman who you can contact when you have a complaint about the services you're receiving medically. I'm at a loss because I got to tell you, my cats. If I appoint an ombudsman, let's say I say to Alex, I would like you to be an ombudsman if the cats have any complaints about medical services they're receiving, and then um, advocate is another word, yes. And every hospital is supposed to have one, by the way. I just, I don't know that the cats are really sophisticated enough to advocate on their own behalf. And if I'm the medical deliverer, I don't see that I'm going to jam myself up and wrap myself out. I don't see me calling my daughter and going, hey, the cats are not getting good medical care. I think what you should do an intervention. I don't see that happening. Um, you're also their lawyer, and Chris, I have been their lawyer. Um, Cats might get scrub syndrome, a fear of scrubs. Oh, because they're getting an injection when I'm in scrubs. Well, that's a good point, Kathy, because if that's true, that's excellent. Because when I'm giving the shot, they'll see me in scrubs. But when I take the scrubs off after I've given the shot, then they won't fear me. If I'm giving them a shot and I'm not dressed appropriately, then will they ever really know when to be afraid of me or not? So I think this you've just highlighted a good reason to pursue the scrubs, so that we can how do you say, compartmentalize that fear that they may have. Let them fear the scrubs. Let them fear the reaper. And then when I change into my t-shirt and my shorts, my cats will be like, oh, I'm not afraid of them now. You will need your vet diploma framed and on the wall because any smart cat looks for them. I didn't know that. See, I'm really glad I'm sharing with you people what's going on with my feline companions, because y'all are really, really raising some good issues here today. I want to tell you, when you guys decide to interact, you're really a bright group. You really coalesce and you really bring significant issues to the forefront. And that's important because, I embarked on this journey initially by myself. And then I made my daughters get involved. And I'm going to tell you why. Um, because I don't like vets. I don't like going to vets. I don't like the way my cats meow when they're in their little cat carrier. They freak me out because they sound like you're killing them. And so I make my daughters take them to the vet. I mean, I've only been to the vet a half a dozen times out of dozens of times. My daughters are in charge of getting them to the vet. And they would be in charge of administering the insulin too if they lived here. I'm stuck. Wear a mask to protect your identity. You know, Chris, you've got some good ideas. Goodwill for a cheap set of scrubs, wearing a mask. Because if I'm wearing a mask, they may think it's just to prevent the transmission of germs. But in reality, it will be. And Kathy says you may have to sleep with one eye open, but not if they don't know who I am, Kathy, right? If I was wearing a mask, I'm in scrubs, got my little stethoscope on, and I'm administering medical care. And then I go in my bathroom, I take off the scrubs, I take off the stethoscope, I take off the mask. There's no reason for me to worry when I'm sleeping. I don't have to sleep with one eye open because they love me. I'll make them hate the doctor, but love me. By the way, they're not particularly keen on vets. I've never had a cat that's like, yo, are we going to the vets? Fine with me. I mean, I had a cat, Shooter. Oh, man. And Gigi. I had two cats. Just were horrendous at veterinarians. I'm going to tell you how horrendous. Um, I think it was Gigi. Could have been Shooter. I'm sorry, I can't remember. They were both tabbies. They were, uh, I think it was Shooter. Probably, right? When Shooter, whichever one it was, God, Jesus, for God's sakes, man, get the story out. Don't get wrapped around the axle about something ancillary to what you're trying to explain, okay? Jesus. So, you go to the vet, and the vets don't like to get scratched, right? So, sometimes they put the cat, in case you haven't seen this, in a little bodysuit that precludes the cat from scratching them while they conduct an examination, right? It's very strange. It looks like a um, straitjacket. It really does. Well, Shooter was still unmanageable. So next they put a face shield over the cat. I walk into the vet's office, I'm talking about the inner sanctum, and my cat looks like it is going to be executed. My cat looked like it was going to be executed. It was wrapped up in a body bag and a mask so that it couldn't scratch or cut. My boy Kitty isn't allowed in the vet clinic if he's not sedated. Joan just raised an issue I had forgotten about, so let me tell you. So we were getting ready to move to Tucson, and Shooter, um, Shooter wasn't wanting to go. In the house, we were moving out of the house that day, and it was we were having trouble detoxing off of drugs, so it's kind of wired. And the new owner showed up, and this was all extraordinarily premature, but we had agreed to it. And she had a cleaning crew, and she's like, we want to come in. We're allergic cats. We've got a cleaning crew here. They're going to clean the vents and everything. Could you please get out? So we're like, oh my God. So we're trying to get Shooter into a carrier, and Shooter's not going. Those of you that know, if a cat don't want to get in something, you know, anyways, she wasn't going along with it. So she's flying around the house. She's fighting like crazy. And I'm like, can we get a sedative? We call the cat clinic down this. Can we get a sedative? And they're like, you got to bring the cat in. We don't give sedatives. We have the body weight and all this stuff. I'm like, I can't get the cat in. That's why I want a sedative. What we land up doing, this is the truth. I land up going to the veterinarian and buying a used dog thing, carrier, a dog cat, large, and then pushing it, backing the cat into a corner and trapping it with a dog carrier, size of a small house. And then once she was in there, boom, closed her up and took her to Tucson because we were moving to Tucson. So she spent a couple of days pretty much in the cat. No, it wasn't a bag, Chris. It was a hard dog case. I still have it. Okay. And Shooter never went to the vet again until she was quite old. I was like, I'm not taking her to the vet. I don't care. I am never taking this cat to a vet. But as she got old, she started having seizures. And I didn't take her to the vet. The kids and their mom took her to the vet. And she started having seizures. And so she was at the vet a couple of times. She passed away at home. Well, no, I guess I was on a retreat in Austin, Texas, when she had to be put to sleep because the seizures had gotten too harsh. So that's Ken's cat stories today. I know that when you tuned in, you were like thinking to yourself, and this is legitimate. What will he talk about tonight? He says comedy tonight in the title. So does he have some comedy plan for us? Of course, those of you that are regular listeners to my podcast knew that had nothing to do with what I talk about. You've already been here many times in the past, and you knew the last thing he's going to do is talk about comedy. He's always disassociated from the topic or the title. I have this affective dissociative disorder. For those of you that are new, I just made that up. I don't even know if there is such a thing. I hear the word dissociated used in the mental health environment, and I used to be in mental health work, but I have no clue what it means. I just thought I'd throw that out there, kind of like to keep it rolling for another few minutes until we do loving kindness. So I was kind of like making up a mental illness. I have mental illness. Don't get me wrong. I don't mean to suggest that I'm sane. I just meant that I don't really have I don't really have affective dissociative disorder. Even if there is such a thing, that's not what I have. My mental illness is a little bit different than what I described. Well, how would I know if I don't even know what the disorder is that I just said? How would I know that my actual disorder is different from the one that I just cited? This is a conundrum. I need to be more careful when I throw out diseases, because what if in reality I have that disease? I'm telling you I got it, but I'm really pretending. But in reality, I actually do. And so, you know, wouldn't that confuse an audience if they're listening and I'm copying to things that I tell you I'm just making up, but at the end of the day, you go and you get on Google and you go, yeah, that fits him to a T. My boy's got affective dissociative disorder for sure. I wonder why he said he doesn't. I don't know. Because I was winging it, man. I make stuff up. I make stuff up for you. I don't, when I got to tell you, this is the truth. Let me be completely honest. When I'm here, like 6:45 rolls around, I get off of this podcast, I lay down, I watch TV. I'm going to tell you something. And I swear on a stack of Bibles, I don't make anything up. I don't even talk. In fact, when people text me, it better be freaking important because I'm not interested. I just had all the discussion, all the conversation that I wanted to have between 6 and 6:45. Now, that's not completely true because uh, I had a good conversation with Chris today. I mean, this isn't the only 45 minutes I talk. I just want to clarify that. But it's the last 45 minutes I'm going to talk. When it's over, I'm done. I'm done. TV time. That's it, man. Cat time. I lay down, cats will jump on me. And this is not when I explain things to them. I told you earlier that when I'm with the cats and I try to reduce their stress by sharing with them very conscientiously, okay, you might have to go to the vet. This is why you're losing weight. You're dead, ba-beam, ba-bam, ba-boom. Okay, that's different. That's daytime. That's daytime. Once I do the podcast, man, unless one of the cats has an emergency and needs some sort of explanation, I'm not saying nothing to them either. They can lay on the bed. They can fight amongst themselves. Who gets to sit where? That's their business. Me, I'm watching TV, man. I think, and God bless TV. Some of you read books. If I didn't tell you this before, let me tell you this now. I ain't reading. I don't care. I might read a magazine. Oh, here's some news. Can't believe I forgot to share this with you. 3 months ago, the state of Arizona Bar Association sent me the monthly magazine because I have a bar membership there. I'm licensed in Arizona, I think. So they send me every month. They send me their magazine. It's called the Arizona Attorney. Well, um, the cover said that it was about marijuana legislation and laws. And I'm like, I'm interested, even though I don't live in Arizona, I'm curious about the evolution of marijuana legislation in the United States. And Arizona is doing it, and I'm a member there. I'm going to watch it. Texas doesn't have to do that. They don't have any marijuana legislation except you can't have marijuana. So I begun reading that. Right now, I'm on the section about what employers can and cannot do for people who use marijuana uh, in Arizona. So if I'm an employer, I can impose limitations and restrictions on you, especially if any impairment would be harmful to the public or to fellow employees. I can impose restrictions. If it's medical marijuana and they have a medical marijuana card, that gets a little stickier. But in the main, they just passed new legislation to remedy a situation where employers felt like their hands were tied with people who were using marijuana. So they have legalized marijuana in Arizona. And so I'm reading that because I think that we're seeing a wave of legalization of marijuana state by state, and each state is going to have to contend with it in their statutes. The first statute is making marijuana legal, but you can't stop there. There's too many other issues come into play. So I started that today, and I'll be reading it. It'll probably take me a month. I mean, it took me 3 months to pick up the freaking magazine. I kept trying to throw it out over and over again. Problem is, every time I saw the title, I thought, I'm actually saving this one. Generally, I throw out the magazines that the various bar associations. Texas sends me one every month. Arizona sends me one. Thank you, Illinois, for not sending me the Illinois Bar Magazine. Do the cats watch TV? They lay around with me, Kathy, but I can't say they're watching TV. They tend to close their eyes, so I suspect they're not paying attention. Now, again, these cats in the main are significantly unresponsive when you try to address them. Whether it's a legal matter, whether it's a medical matter, it doesn't matter. They're just typically unresponsive. They act like like nothing's going on upstairs. And I don't know. So I don't know if they're watching TV. I don't think so. I did most of the talking today, and you're grateful, Chris. I kind of apologize. Let me apologize to Chris before we get off the air because I don't mean to do all the talking. If I did all the talking, and he's grateful, that's fine. But I should be more sensitive when I'm with the cats. I mean, when I'm with Chris, when I'm with Chris, I should make sure I'm giving him ample opportunity to engage me in whatever's going on in his head. Mike DeForest, yo yo yo, brother. My cat likes to listen to jazz. I gotta be honest. I don't know that my cats enjoy anything other than the following. Okay, food and my backyard. Those are the two things that I seem to be able to honestly report to this group. My cats enjoy food and hanging out in the backyard. I'm not sure that they're jazz aficionados or they would be into Led Zeppelin, hard rock. I don't know. They've never really, you know what? They're just a bunch of fat cats. Except for Velvet, she's skinny, but she's got an excuse. She's got diabetes. And suggests they could just be deep thinkers. You know, what is it? Those that know don't say, those that say don't know. Did I just quote that right? In other words, they may know a lot and they're not saying because they know. And then here I am, I ramble for 45 minutes, and clearly I know very little. It's kind of like those that know, those that teach don't know, those that know don't teach. Man, I'm pretty sure I'm screwing those up. Anyways, it's 6:45. It's time to do meta. I very much appreciate, before I go, let me just say this. Before we do meta, I appreciate the input I got tonight. I mean, you guys were swell. You guys made showing up here at 6 o'clock worthwhile. I've learned a little bit. I've got a plan of action. The veterinarian stopped short of a real significant plan of action. I feel now, after what we've done, getting scrubs, getting a stethoscope, wearing a mask, possibly gloves, but I don't think so. I just think that I got a plan of action. I think there are things I'm going to embark on starting tomorrow. I'm going to be cognizant of my desire to secure scrubs, and I'm going to go to the Five and Dime, and I'm going to see if they've got the little doctor set with the little stethoscope. And I'll have more to report in the future as this unfolds, right? I mean, right now, I don't have anything to say except I met the vet. I came, I saw, I conquered. Veni vidi vici. Did you know that? Seems for a moment, in just that moment, when I say veni vidi vici, and then I tell you that's Latin for I came, I saw, I conquered, perhaps for a moment you were thinking, yeah, that's pretty interesting. Ken knows Latin. Does anybody know? And I'm going to throw this one out there before we meta. Does anybody know why I know Veni Vidi Vici? Where would I see Veni Vidi Vici that I would have been able to memorize it? Do you know? Let's take the next 5 seconds. Type in your answers. And Chris says, if right, Radine says, wait, let me go back to Chris here. Says, my dog knows when I'm almost home. Becky says to Chris. Radine says, my cat hates death metal and hip hop. Who doesn't? Really? I mean, you get down to it, it's a rare death metal or hip hop song I like too. So, Chris has gloves if I need them. Kathy says, my dog knew when my husband turned the corner half a block away. Well, I don't know what my cats know because when I open the garage and come in from the garage, usually uh, the one up top, that's Leo, is waiting in the kitchen, but I think he hears the garage door opening, and so he knows to come in the kitchen. Now he's scared of his own shadow, so when I open the door, he goes running away. But he's always in the kitchen. Usually, he hears the garage door. So I don't know if that counts for knows when I'm half a block away. Then Wednesday we will see her out there. I don't know. I'm not saying I'm going to score tomorrow because I don't have a Goodwill store down the street. There's things that I'm missing. My cat cries when he can't find me. Why can't your cat find you, Mike? What are you hiding? Are you? Do you play hide and seek with your freaking cat? You're cruel. You're free cruel. My cats know exact. My cats don't have to look for me. I'm either in my bedroom or I'm in the kitchen or I'm in the bathroom. That's it. 3 places. Or I'm not here. What? His cat cries when he can't find him. For God's sakes, man, stop playing hide and seek with your cat. That's just cruel. I'm sorry. That disturbs me. All right. Let's do some meta. I thank you all. When I say do meta, here's what I mean. For those of you that may be new to this podcast called Ken Goldberg's Law and Disorder, we end with a Buddhist kind of reflection. It's called metta, or translated into English, loving kindness. And we do it as follows, and I always encourage everybody who's listening to do the same at home. Bring hands together before the hearts as if in prayer. Close your eyes, bow your head. Take a deep breath. Take 2 deep breaths. What the heck? And then let us all think to ourselves, May I be happy, healthy, free from harm. May I be free from anger, anxiety, and fear. And may this practice guide me to a place of greater peace and comfort in my life. May my mother and father, even if they've passed away, and all my living family members and all my friends, sending them metta, may they be happy, healthy, and free from all forms of harm. May they too find a path that guides them to a life of peace and comfort. And to those persons I find difficult, whatever ill will I may harbor for whatever reason, in this moment, I wish to send all these persons metta. May they be happy, healthy, free from all harm. May their lives be filled with joy and peace in this very moment. And to all living beings throughout the entire universe, humans and non humans, join me in sending out our collective goodwill so that all living beings are happy, healthy, free from harm, able to live their lives in safety, comfort, and peace. Satu, Satu, Satu. Well, thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Joan. High school? Radine? High school does not compute. All right, kids. Rose, Ann, and Mark. Rachel's in the hospital. Rachel lives in Scottsdale. She texted me. She's in the hospital. I don't know why. She just said she's sick. So Ray Dean, Becky, Chris, Kathy, um, and Mark, Joan, Mike DeForest. Ha! I said both Kathys, Michael, Andrew. Okay. Y'all are cool as all get out. And if she's stuck around, she usually has to go have dinner or something. All right, brothers. Oh, there you are, Ann. Thank you, Ann. Mark and Ann. Two Anns, two Kathys. And a partridge in a pear tree. On the next day of Christmas, Ken said goodbye.